Hi everybody, it's Rick from the Sporting Shop. We got a new topic for today's video. We're going to be talking about Shadow Systems firearms. Grab your favorite beverage, get a comfortable chair, and let's get to it. Shadow System opened for business in early 2016. Today, the company's current CEO is a gentleman named Trevor Row, who, not surprisingly, isn't a stranger to firearms. Now, young Trevor Row grew up reading Guns and Ammos and entered the world of competitive shooting at the tender age of 14. By the age of 15, he rose to be the youngest master-rated USPSA, that's United States Practical Shooting Association, shooter in the limited division in history. As life progressed, he entered the United States Military Academy from 2000 to 2004. He graduated from West Point, attaining a Bachelor's of Science in the American legal system and mechanical engineering. He then served as an infantry officer from May 2004 to May 2011, a total of 7 years and 1 month. He held active duty command and staff positions in the United States and overseas, serving in infantry, logistics, intelligence, and operations assignments. He also served in ground combat operations in both Afghanistan and Iraq. Under Row's leadership, Shadow System has grown exponentially. The company only had 5 employees in 2017, but now has more than 150. The firearms are built completely in-house, including machining, barrel making, frame molding, tasks that are often outsourced. Impressive. So jumping to Shadow Systems, Mr. Row, by his own admission, categorically states that Shadow System is based on the Glock design, specifically the internal operating system. But after that, it's 100% Shadow System. What do you say? Let's take a deeper look at this firearm manufacturer. Shadow System is a designer and manufacturer of premium firearms and firearm parts, based in Plano, Texas. They are committed to offering the most price-competitive, highest-value pistols and parts on the market. Again, every one of their products is built in Plano, Texas, with parts machined in-house. There are very few pistol companies that can say that they offer a product line that is truly made in America. And with Shadow System, American labor is the force. They pride themselves on being American-made. Shadow System team is made up of combat veterans, former law enforcement, SWAT guys, and competitive shooters. And as such, every product is designed to be shot and carried. While others may focus on looks, Shadow System creates a hard-use tools that are properly engineered and perfectly executed. That being said, let's start off by looking at the slide. But first, I should mention that the internals of the pistol slides are identical in all 3 slide models. Shadow System slide is designed to minimize recoil and maximize control and comfort. The slide features directional serrations in order to provide aggressive grasping surfaces when manipulating the slide from any angle in any weather. The slide is machined from 1.5 inch times 1.5 inch block of 17-4 stainless steel. The 17-4 speaks to the elements added to stainless steel. It's 17% chromium, 4% nickel, and a little bit of copper thrown in. So 17-4 stainless steel is generally regarded as the perfect material for hard-use firearm components. In addition to the high mechanical strength, 17-4's corrosion resistance. In fact, it withstands corrosive attacks better than most hard-enabled stainless steels, and furthermore can be heat-treated to optimize hardness levels. When it comes to slides, there are basically 3 types of slides that go on any of the frame sizes: the combat optic, and the elite. The combat slide has just iron sights, which are dovetailed into the slide. The front sight is a night sight with a tritium capsule surrounded by a luminescent ring, which your eye can't help but get drawn to, and the rear sight is blacked out to allow for faster sight picture under stress. The combat optic slide is the same slide as the combat, but it's modified with their proprietary optic cut. Unique to Shadow Systems, their pistols have a patented multi-footprint optic cut, and this optic cut is the only one in the industry that allows for the mounting of most brands of red dot optics, including, but not limited to, Trijicon, Vortex, Leopold, Holosun, Sig, Swamp Fox, True Glow, and Shield, direct to the slide without the need for intervening plates or adapters. The optic cut design allows you to mount the majority of optics as low as possible and thereby keeping your sight picture and bore in a close relationship to co-witness with the factory sights, again without the use of specialty plates that increase the elevation of the RMR or the need for specialty screws to secure it. So, you undoubtedly want to know, how do they accomplish this feat? Well, that was accomplished by moving some of the internal slide components around, creating Shadow Systems' unique footprint that allows utilization of the deepest screws in the game for a secure RMR mount. In fact, the screws now go down almost all the way to the rails, so you have an optic cut that fits multiple brands with the longest screws that have ever been used. Some of these screws are almost an inch long, counting the portion that goes into the optic. And this is an enormous change. Shadow System uses the deepest screws in the game for a secure RMR mount. That optic is never going to come off. It's just a stronger system. Overall, this is a really big deal because it gives more flexibility to more users with no compromise. Oh, one last well-thought-out design, clearly showing attention to producing exceptional firearms. Shadow System provides different size spacers depending upon the make of the RMR that fit between the RMR and the back of the optic cut in the frame, so as to minimize the recoil energy on the mounting screws, thereby giving your RMR a really snug fit. Brilliant. Last, but certainly not least, we have the Elite Slide. All Elite Slides feature their proprietary optic cut, again, which fits most optics on the market. Ultra long and ultra strong screws, the Elite Slide features the front and rear directional serrations as well as the top directional serrations and a weight optimizing window cut. The directional serrations are cut facing the front of the firearm, a little forward thinking again to ensure a smooth holster drawer with little to no to hang up on the holster itself. The weight cut windows lighten the Elite Slide, ensuring a faster cycling operation, even with the addition of an RMR compared to the cycling speed of the Combat or the Combat Optic Slide. So let's take a look into the barrels. Stainless steel barrels have been around since the 1930s. However, they've recently seen widespread use for two reasons. First, their resistance to heat erosion is superior to chrome moly barrels. Second, their resistance to rust nearly eliminates corrosion in humid environments. Shadow System machines their barrels from 416R stainless steel, which is generally regarded as optimum for barrel steel. 416R is hard-enabled chromium stainless steel, particularly well-suited for use in the high-quality precision rifle barrels. In general, stainless steel is better than carbon steel for barrels as it resists heat and abrasions of the firing process and will show less wear over the life of the barrel. 416R may be machined and lapped to a high finish, which is paramount for superior bore accuracy. The barrels are available in thread and unthreaded configurations with a standard thread of 1/2 × 28. With which you can accessorize with suppressors or compensators. The barrels are finished in either titanium, carbonitrate, or black nitride. Shadow System uses titanium carbonitride as their go-to barrel finish. Titanium carbonitride is very hard and offers superior corrosion resistance and lubricity. Titanium carbonitride has a very appealing appearance, and on a personal basis, I really think it's great. Shadow System uses nitride to finish their black components. There are many recipes and names for nitride: Tenifer, melanite, QP, QPQ, but essentially they're all the same or all very similar. Generally, they all mean a treatment that makes part super hard at the surface, followed by a rust preventative blackening treatment. Now, early in their production, Shadow System utilized a diamond-like carbon finish, which is a nano-deposit coating, which exhibits hardness and resistance to stress and corrosion similar to natural diamonds, making them ideal for harsh environments. However, Shadow System noted that the diamond-like carbon finish exhibited at holster wear with repeated use, and in the interest of producing the best firearm possible, they changed their finish to nitride, as it demonstrated a superior finish with less wear to the firearm in areas of high contact. The last thing I'd like to mention about Shadow System choice of construction of their firing pins, depressors, plungers, firing pin safeties. Each of these critical parts are cut from solid 17-4 stainless steel and not machine injection molded, which yields a cast part. That pretty much covers the slide and the barrel. Let's move on to the frame and its components. First of all, Shadow System's polymer components are injection molded in-house, and they use a glass-filled high-strength polymer for their frame. Their in-house construction ensures tight tolerances. Now, usually I don't get very excited about polymer frames, but yet again, Shadow System has demonstrated some serious forethought in their design. My first impression on picking up Shadow System is the trigger guard has a generous undercut. Shadow System describes this as a double undercut. And on a personal level, my slightly arthritic knuckles absolutely love the fact that the impact from recoil is considerably less than the Austrian firearm producer Shadow System is often compared to. Speaking of recoil, the frame is designed to dramatically reduce recoil and muzzle flip by its contoured frame so that it sits low in the hand. They use an aggressively textured surface on critical surfaces and forward on the lower frame for a thumb rest, which you can see on all the models. Again, small improvements, big results. Absolutely brilliant. As to the textured surfaces, I would say it's not unlike 180 grit sandpaper, textured for a firm grip, but not so severe you ruin your clothing. In addition to all of that, note that the beaver tail has been slightly extended to reduce the possibility of slide bite, so I'm sure you understand the benefits of reduced recoil. Controllable recoil permits fast hits win fights and win matches. Pretty simple, huh? All in all, I think it's an excellent design. So let's go back and revisit Shadow System's unique approach to their frame. When Shadow Systems designed the frame, they included an interchangeable backstrap system. Shadow System uses a setup called the NPOA system, and that stands for Natural Point of Aim. The natural point of aim differs from the standard insert design used by most firearm manufacturers that provide for small, medium, and large grip adjustments. Their theory on the small, medium, large grips doesn't really solve the problem. The problem being that you want a firearm that points naturally for you. So their system is all about adjusting the firearm's hold so that it points naturally for you, the individual consumer. The firearm comes with 3 backstraps, neutral, high, and low. And they include a tool with a hardened steel pin to install the backstrap or change the backstrap for your individual preference. The firearm has a single pin on the back of the backstrap. Using a tool, there's a teeny chamfered on the tool that nicely fits into the top of the coil pin, and that just pushes right out. Then the backstrap will slide right off. You'll see a dovetail along the back of the frame so that when you pull off the backstrap, that dovetail is what tensions the backstrap to the frame, and when it's in place, making it feel and function as one solid piece. Each backstrap has a corresponding dovetail as well. What they're trying to do is select the backstrap that feels natural to you, and what they mean by that is what makes the gun point as true to your natural grip as possible. The firearm ships with the neutral backstrap installed, which is somewhere between the Glock hump and the flat of a 1911. Now, that's a good start for most. If you receive a high and a low backstrap, the high is most similar to the way a standard Glock fits your hand. So if you're a Glock guy, this may be the place to start for you. The low is the flattest of the three backstraps, and that feels most similar to the way a 1911 fits your hand. So select the backstrap that works best for you and then lock it in place with a pin. Pretty awesome, but we're not done yet. If your preference is to run magazines, well, to assist with faster reloads, you can choose to utilize the included magwell. Their magwell is a polymer piece that is lightweight, durable, and comes standard with your firearm. And if you like to add the magwell, just take the plug back out, add the separate magwell plug in its place, and pin that in place. Simple. The magwell then snaps tightly into position, and it's secured in place with a second pin. The magwell will lock nice and rigid to the frame. There are a couple of advantages when you install the magwell. Obvious one is for faster reloads, but they also consider that the bottom edge of the magwell helps to lock the pistol even tighter into your grip. Finally, there's a dandy example of well thought out engineering planning. The magwell has been designed so that in the rare instance you do break your magwell, let's say you fall on some rocks and you break the magwell, it's designed to break at the plug so it would protect the frame. Not too shabby. Okay, finally, let's discuss the trigger. Keeping in mind that Shadow System is based on the Glock design, specifically the internal operating system. So let's take a look at the triggers used in Shadow System. First and foremost, this is a drop-safe trigger. The typical standard drop test is 1 meter, 3.3 feet. Muzzle down. Shadow System has done multiple drops in their testing from as high as 22 feet. No problem. Shadow System uses Taran Tactical Innovations connectors in all of their production guns. Taran's connectors for Glock triggers is manufactured to a standard that simply blows everything else out there away. When you combine the proper stock weight striker spring, you get a consistent everyday carry safe pull of 4 pounds. Their trigger pre-travel is designed to be slightly shorter than a factory trigger, but not so insanely short as to make the gun unsafe for daily carry, threat management, and trigger control under stress. So the Shadow System Elite trigger is designed to incorporate the best characteristics of a premium flat-faced trigger in a no-nonsense design that is ready for daily carry and hard-duty use. Now, I would never make a judgment call for any of my viewers, but personally, I think the Shadow System is an amazing firearm. So much so that I purchased the first one from the shop, and I can't make a better recommendation than that. So if you're interested in Shadow System, come on down to the sporting shop. We've got a nice selection, feel them, see all the things that I've talked about in person. I'm sure you'll be very impressed.